After Z Fold 2, many folding phones were made, with different names, with different features, at different prices, even by companies whose names we don't hear often. Some of them had a better form factor and a lower price, but they did not have very good software. Some had good cameras, some had great software, but their form factor was not the best. The technology was there for a quality hinge, a low-resist display, and good cameras. There were also big companies that could compete with Samsung by making optimal software. And now, it's the OnePlus Open, the phone that's all foldables in one. Of course, it is still not ideal. This is OnePlus Open review, so let's do it. The first feeling when taking OnePlus Open is that this is a normal premium phone. The edges of the display are the same everywhere, the ratio and size of the display are quite normal, a capacitive fingerprint sensor with good speed is placed in the frame is aluminum and there is no gap between the two parts of the phone, and you do not feel that you're holding two separate pieces. The back of the phone is either leather or matte glass, both of which are grippy and of high quality. Of course, you can't really forget the protruding camera. Your hand will touch it in all situations. It's just like your normal phone is a little thicker. And it's not even much heavier because it weighs the same as the iPhone 15 Pro Max. The outside screen is also completely flagship. 431 ppi, LTPO3 AMOLED, 120Hz 10-bit display with peak brightness of 2800 nits, more than any other globally available phones. And in my opinion, this is what we expect from the user experience of the outside part of a foldable. But its water resistance is at the level of a splash and not swim like Z Fold 5, and is not dust resistant like any other foldables. But the most important part of a foldable is the inner part. First of all, the quality of the hinge is excellent. According to OnePlus, it uses carbon fiber, aerospace materials, and cobalt to make it light but high quality. But we don't care about the specs. The hinge opens at all angles, it feels solid, and according to OnePlus, its resistance is 800,000 volts, equivalent to 100 a day for 10 years. But the fact is that after some time of use, it makes a little noise and it doesn't feel much like the first days. But OnePlus itself considers this to be normal and you should not be too worried about it. The specs of the internal display are exactly the same as the outer display and cannot be faulted. The display bezels are small and the selfie camera is not under the display, which is neither a major flaw nor a game-changing camera. The dent in the middle of the screen is also present in the Open, but it is not as big as the Z Fold 5, and it is only visible in the direct light, and you do not feel it too much under your hand. Of course, this is still not ideal. The internal display has a plastic cover, and if you don't take good care of your phone like me, it definitely won't last long. Because even with the pressure of your fingernails, it gets permanent scratches. Also, don't use the internal display with oily and sweaty hands, because cleaning it is not an easy task at all. Its software is not really like a first-generation software, and will definitely surprise you. It is perhaps the most complete software for foldable phones. You can choose the internal display to be completely separate world, or when you unfold the phone, the task of the outside display continues. You can choose the different multitasking modes, in all of which you can use 3 apps at the same time. And the best and most creative mode is that the main app you work with is bigger and you can easily switch between the 3 apps. You can also put the apps that you're multitasking with in your favorites. And with one click, 3 apps will open in your desired mode. It has complete stand mode features too. The UI itself is OxygenOS, which is currently the same as ColorOS, but it's amazing. It has 3-year software support too. But does the hardware support all these features? Definitely yes, a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 with 16GB of RAM and 512GB of UFS 4.0 memory. The interesting thing is that this specs is for the basic model, and only this version exists. There is no heavy task that OnePlus Open cannot do, even opening 3 games at the same time. Of course, it will definitely get hot in these conditions, but in general, it doesn't get hot in reasonable use. Its battery is 4800 mAh. It lasts up to a full day in semi-heavy usage, but you may have to charge it near night. This is thanks to the low-power processor and wasn't possible until 2 years ago. You don't often find wireless charging in OnePlus phones, and it's the same here. Of course, there is a 67-watt fast charger with a quality cable in the box. We charge the phone in 40 minutes. 4 stereo speakers are placed in OnePlus Open, which has a loud and high-resolution sound, and its bass can be felt. But I wish the sound was a little sharper. Its haptic engine is not the best, but it has a premium feel. The OnePlus camera is the best among foldables and great among flagships, but it is not the best. Of course, with this protrusion, it has to be good. 48 megapixel wide lens, 48 megapixel ultra wide lens, and 64 megapixel 3x telephoto lens with 6x hybrid zoom make up the camera of this phone. It also has 2 selfie cameras of 32 and 20 megapixels, both of which are ultra wide and suitable for a quick selfie or a video call. But when you can take a selfie with the main camera, it doesn't matter much. Photos from the main lens are beyond expectation. High details, wide dynamic range, good sharpness, and dynamic colors. Photo noise is almost zero. The night photos are not very different from the daylight photos. They have high detail and good contrast, and are close to reality. The dynamic range is mostly excellent. Portrait photos are also great. The detail and color of the skin are processed well, and the bokeh is also natural and pleasant to look at. Ultra-wide photos have a very wide viewing angle, but their distortion is not annoying. They have a lot of detail and the dynamic range is not bad. It has a bit of a problem with highlights. The colors are also close to the main lens. Photos are really good with 3x zoom. When you do 3x zoom, you definitely say to yourself, this is really a folding? Accurate colors, very low noise, and good dynamic range. 6x zoom is even great. Of course, with a little less dynamic range and detail. OnePlus Open can record 8K 30 frames per second video or even 4K Dolby Vision. Even the performance of the stabilizer and the quality of its videos are excellent. Overall, it's quite a flagship camera, but it's not so good that you buy it just for the camera. You know? In my opinion, OnePlus Open is not a phone that has introduced innovation to the market, but a folding phone that should be made. A phone where we can see all we can get after these 5 years, in one package. OnePlus is really returning to its peak in the last year. Open is definitely worth buying if you're looking for a foldable phone. Its 16GB of RAM and 512GB of memory is $100 cheaper than Z Fold 5 and Pixel Fold with 256GB of memory and 12GB of RAM. Unless you're part of the Google or Samsung ecosystem, or if pen support is really important to you. Or you just don't trust OnePlus. That's your choice. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, like it, and if you like my content, subscribe to my channel. Goodbye, see you next video.